Okie dokie. We are live. What's up, guys? Dr. Sharnael Wolverton Sihon. I am super excited because I haven't been live in a bit because my phone has been dismantled for a few days. And also, I'm in Facebook hell again. So that's happening. But I got my phone back and I was going to just tell a little story. And then I thought, you know what? I told the story to one of these guests and it was just kind of funny. And so I was like, you know what? We need to this needs to be a teaching moment. This could be an opportunity for all of us to hear and to see how this relates to you, where you're at, everybody who's watching, and for us to just have this discussion on energy and the power of energy, because everything happens for a reason. Everything works for us. We're in a new year, 2022, and lots to digest and work through, and awesome opportunities here right on the brink of the new year energies coming out of winter solstice, going into this new year. I would love to take full on force these energies and use them for my benefit, see what needs to happen for me to clear and go for it. But without further ado, I need to tell you guys, go to swiftfire.org, get on the newsletter. Oh my God, just because of times like this, when I'm in jail and the phone stuff, that is one place from a desktop that I can communicate with you guys when I am in front of a computer, which is whenever. But swiftfire.org, get on that newsletter, check out when I'm having interviews and different things, and just that way we can have some sort of contact with one another. But in the meantime, I would love to introduce a returning guest. Leslie and I have done many things together over the years. She also is a photographer and helper in this project with our cards that we did. And just someone that has been very important to me over the last decade, and just super. She has all her podcasts and great energy teachings and lots of different things that she does. I'll let her tell you about that. But also Nancy Flowers Calm, who, oh my God, this is her first time to be on with me, but she has been very pivotal in my life, in my physical life, and she's the vice president, still, I guess no one fired you, of Swoop Fire International. Since the beginning, she was here before Swift Fire was Swift Fire.
That's right.
And she has been someone who has been very behind the scenes in the past, but moving into the audience form of teaching, and she has a powerful voice, and she's doing amazing things and learning all kinds of stuff and teaching amazing things and just being very pivotal in my life behind the scenes, and to many, many, many people behind the scenes. And now this is her time to come forward and to share some things. So I'm really super honored to have my Nancy here with us as well. So do you guys care to share a couple words here before we get on this topic of energy?
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, this is always a go-to topic for me because there's so many layers, and the more you talk about it, the more understanding you have, because sometimes the principle takes a minute to actually get into our body where we get it. Like we hear it a bunch of times and then we have this thing and we're like, oh, I get it. And so I love talking about all the things.
Awesome. And Nancy?
Yes, one of my favorite subjects is talking about energy. So I am going to learn from you beautiful ladies that have so much experience in sharing your hearts and really being out there. I'm so proud of each of you, and I am here to learn from you and watch you, and I will share as it comes. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here. It's such an honor to be with you two beautiful ladies.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, so this whole thing came about because some of you may have seen that my phone was dismantled for like 3 days. I'll give you a little background on that situation. I've been following a dude on Instagram who does great soul audits and tests like your biofield and different areas of what's going on. He doesn't do scalar, he does kinesiology, but just someone who I have really admired from afar. He will list like all these amazing books that he has tested, documentaries that he's tested, people that he's tested, movies and different things. And so I did a soul audit with him. We were just kind of going back and forth on different things. One of the things that came up, as some of you may know, I recently, just this last week, because of some testing that came up, basically rounded up all the urns in my house that were holding space for some people who have, some animals that have passed on. And then I've also had 7 miscarriages over the years. And my doctor, Dr. Lucky, and I were doing some things to try to move some things out, especially with this new year and some things that come up. And he was saying that it was attributed, he came up out of nowhere, was like, what's going on? Do you have urns in your house? And this came up through kinetic muscle testing, and he was like, this is directly related to that. And it was actually 99% related to that, which is pretty high. So he said, you need to do, some sort of burial with the urns, because urns will hold space. And when they hold space, your body doesn't let go. And so your body can actually form cysts or tumors or fibroids within the body to hold that person. You'll create those things, cancel clear, to hold space for what's lost, because you want to hold on. And so not, just choosing to clear and to get rid of some of this stuff. He basically instructed me, bury the animals, the urns, and also do some sort of ceremony for the children. And with the children, he had either get like baby shoes or something, like a baby toy, a rattle or something, and blue for boys, pink for girls. If you know what the situation, you can muscle test and find out. And then the babies were to go in a body of water, and anything in an urn would go into the ground. Water, because the womb and the water. Anyway, so I was in the middle of doing that. I say that like without crying now, which is like fantastic, because when he even told me this, I was super emotional or anything. I was just like, okay, yeah, I could do that. And that didn't seem like a big thing. But when I got home and started to put all this shit in my car to take it up north to bury it and go ahead and have that, oh my gosh, like my body was like, no, and just like almost like starting over, like I never went through any grieving, which I did. And so many emotions and so much whatever. And then even when I got there, I didn't do it right away. It took me several days to finally just go, okay, I'm going to do it now. And there was so much hesitation, because it made it feel really permanent and final. It seems like it'd be like, I'm doing this as fast as possible so my body can transmute. But anyway, so whatever, it happened the way it happened. And so I'm in the process of doing that. And I'm also doing this audit with this guy. So 2 separate things. And when I do the audit with the dude, he comes up with something happened at 28 that involved a dog and a burial. He was like, something about a dog burial, which was the same day I was doing this dog burial.
This is recorded.
Which is like not a coincidence that the day I'm doing a dog burial, he pulls up something happened that's connected to what's going on with a dog burial. And he was like, something happened at 28, a dog had passed, something also with your mom, and some other things going on. And he was like, does this make any sense to you? And he was telling me, ways to clear it and what have you. So I was like, well, yeah, actually, there was a situation where a former person in my life killed my dog, and actually came in when he got the dog. My mom was there, and I was sitting there watching him take away my dog to kill this dog, which was very traumatic for me. And my mom was in the background, bless her heart. And I think that somehow subconsciously, the things that came up were blame to both parties, including myself, to all parties. So my mom, the person, and me, although my mom had absolutely zero to do with this. She just happened to be there when it happened. But I guess because somehow I had blamed subconsciously for her not doing anything, but I didn't do anything either. I was just so frozen in fear that I didn't want to be the thing that got hurt in that situation. And so helplessness, not feeling like I had control, fear, lots of things were going on. And so he basically was like, clear all of this and told me, how to clear it. And so simultaneously, why he was saying it has something to do with your throat and communication. And at that moment at 28, you shut down your throat chakra, which, now there's stuff that I'm working out through that. But he said, this is really important that you clear this through emotional code, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That's a whole different topic. But it was, he gave me the top 5 emotions and, the 28, throat, mom, me. And then he said to do the Ho'oponopono. What is it? Say it. Say it. That. That thing. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. To myself, to the dog involved, to my mother, and to the person who did this, who caused this whole thing, which you two know that who that person is. But so I was like, I just buried the dog. I'm in the process of doing this. And all of a sudden I go to get the notes off my phone from this person so I can do the emotional code, and my phone turns white. And as it goes white, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never seen it go white. I've seen it go like if it doesn't need, if it needs charging, it'll turn off. But this went white and then it went off. And I was like, okay. So I went to go charge it thinking I'm going to charge it and it'd come back on, but it didn't. And turns out this person who I've had zero contact with for I don't know how many years out of nowhere wiped my phone remotely. And I didn't know that that's what happened. But I, waited, tried to do all the things, went to AT&T. In the process, contacted my family to let them know, hey, if you are trying to find me or get me, my phone is like not doing what it needs to. And I'm at the AT&T store. So you need to contact my husband. If you need me, this is where I am. And one of the people that I contacted in my family happened to be with this person. And that person took the phone from them and basically got on speaker and proceeded to tell me that they were the ones who wiped my phone long distance and that they didn't even know how to do it, but they looked it up. They found an app to do it and they were able to wipe my phone. And he did it in a way to almost brag gleefully, and even admitted that he knew that I do everything on my phone and that this would be a major inconvenience and that he wasn't sure I would get anything back, but this is what happened. So I thought that was interesting timing, that the minute that I am doing the thing for this person that I haven't spoken to for however long to clear my communication, that the same person must have felt the energy that I was about to clear this and tried to wipe out communication and the means to the directions of how I was going to clear this simultaneously. As also burying the dog, the guy comes up and says, at 28, there was some burial with the dog. So anyway, all that being said, I just thought that this would be an interesting topic. And let me add this. He also said that there was a cord to cut with this person. And and said, this is how you do it. And we've been back and forth, and I know I have a whole class on cutting the cord, and this guy doesn't know what I do or anything. So, and he proceeded to tell me how he cuts the cord. And it was in a way that I would never cut the cord, because it had to do with some sexual things, which I'm not going to go into, which I maybe tell you another day. But it goes to show how, like, you could take the meat and like throw out the bones with everybody and be like, okay, this was so amazing with this content, but this was just like really out of left field, but that's okay. I still value what you gave me. But yeah, it had to do with some weird sexual stuff. So I was just like, yeah, no, what's funny is I didn't even look at the link to see what he sent me on what to do. I just put, okay, doing that now, thanks. And then when I looked back and read what he said to do, I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. And had to do with honey and some other things that were very off any chart that I would do something about with. So anyway, love you guys. Feel free to jump in anytime on energy, synchronicities, things connected, long distance, decades of time. Go for it, Nancy.
Yeah, I just want to add here right now, because really when you talked about, the baby and burial of a miscarriage in the water. So could you explain that a little bit further? Because it's real interesting. Once you explain it, then I'll go on with what I'm saying, and then let Leslie go for it.
So if a person had been birthed already and living, for some reason, it's better to go in the ground. But if the child had miscarried in the womb and not been birthed, that it's better to put it in a body of water of some kind, some representation, because it was like going back into the womb of God, to send it back that way versus. So I choose to know why, but in anything that Dr. Lucky and I have done, this is how it's always showed up. So.
Yeah, I had a really unique experience not that long ago. I didn't realize I had a miscarriage until July of 2021. And I was very fortunate to find out through a particular call that I happened to be on that was just divine and surprising to me. And this person was reading me and shared that I had 3 children. I'm like, no, I got 2 children. He goes, and so all of a sudden I have a flashback of what happened to me when I was younger, of thinking I was pregnant, really going through a lot of major stuff. The hormones were off, and it was just major. And so then anyways, after I started bleeding a little bit, I just thought, well, okay, well, I'm not pregnant, and I I wasn't pregnant. I had no idea until this particular conversation in July of 2021. And it just through my mind. And then shortly after, I talked to Dr. Lucky. I had a consult call with him. And he suggested, get a piece of representation of a pacifier, or baby shoes, whatever, and bury it. So I'm really glad to hear you talk about that the water is a better type of burial. So that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So Leslie, I will let you go, because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
The quantum entanglement was obviously kind of one of my things, which just means we create these really strong spiritual bonds and psychic bonds, which mean the same thing, with other humans. And sometimes it's not even a conscious, sometimes it can be where we've spent time with someone in a close manner, close family, close friend. And sometimes it can happen in a matter of hours. I've experienced this, and it was literally just a matter of hours with a person, and we were just so intrinsically connected. And that was, I think I've talked with you about that. It's so crazy how that happens. And I know also with cord cutting, I was going to share this too. Well, quantum entanglement, you can form bonds with people, and it's so powerful because we don't realize what happens until something like that happens. Or we'll be like, that's so crazy. Like, I was just doing this and you called. But it's literally this unspoken thing, because everything's energy, and some things go so many more layers deep in our consciousness that we can't even we try to like give it these little phrases to make it make sense because we don't understand the depths of the energetics of it. I mean, I sure don't. But quantum entanglement, I think too, this is just for everyone listening. If you do find yourself entangled, and it might be something with the cord cutting, that you have to do more than once. Because I've had that experience in my life where it worked. It was, you can reconnect also with your own energy if you're not careful. And it can happen. And so for cord cutting for me, I was doing a cord cutting one night, and I felt really in my heart, see where they're attached in your mind's eye, put your hands on them and dissolve them with love. That was one thing I heard, which is like the total opposite. So, I'm like a warrior person, like me and Candace and a joke, like we're going to get the sword, like slash the cord, right? But and that takes so much more of your heart and soul, because you have to genuinely want to release it from every dimension of your body whenever you dissolve something with love. In that place of meditation and doing that in the spirit.
Well, I thought that's really good, and I like that much better than what this guy was saying for sure. And I get it of like the warrior thing, and he did mention you may have to do it more than once, because the thing that he did, he actually said, "I've done this a few times. You might have to do it more than once." And I was like, "Oh my God!" But I think I'll stick to using sage and Davana and the pituitary, and you can get like a string, actual like a live string, and you could do like a ceremony like you're actually cutting too. But I think, Nancy, you brought up such a great point too, about you didn't even know this was so, it's like you knew and your body had a memory of it, but you blotted it out probably out of survival and just like, yeah, no, I'm good.
That's my childhood story, blotting it out since it's for survival. And I still don't know what I've blotted out, and it's okay, because I think I'm still energetically doing things that I've created through all those incidents as a child that happened to me energetically. I'm still working through in the processes of different means than just going back to a memory is what I'm getting right now. The other thing I wanted to say is that this gentleman had also said that, so on July, on a Sunday, I'm in my kitchen, and I said, because I had been given this word before and seen it in my life, where these things start really happening and blossoming, and then it's elusive, and I explain it like a flower is just blooming, and then it dies, and it blooms and dies and blooms and dies. And I'm in my kitchen and by myself, and I'm just like, what is it that causes this thing to continue to die, things to die in my life? It's really wanting to just, shoot up. And so I literally heard like a lightning, and I just went, whoa, yes. And I started screaming, and I'm like, yes, that's it. It just happened. Yes. And the very next day was the day I was on the Zoom call with this surprise guest that showed up in this small thing. And so, he read me, and his name's Masa Jati. That's okay to say. So anyways, he read me, and he said, the child. And then when he said, and that elusive thing in your life, and like, I've never seen the guy in my life, that elusive thing in your life. He goes, that's three grandmothers back. She lost a daughter, and my child, I knew immediately was a girl, and I named her Jessica. So, so anyways, he said that elusive thing that keeps holding you back. And he said, that's three grandmothers back. She lost a child, a daughter, 10 or 11 years old, and she could never forgive herself. Wow. And so it's still holding, that energetically is still holding in you.
Wow.
And so he said, okay, we'll just, take care of that. And so now he kind of adjusted energetically frequently, and then I've got to do the work. So, and so it's just profound, the depths and the spheres and the heights and the widths and of what energy work it does and creates and all of this stuff. I mean, what we think about, like, I was just thinking when I was just thinking about being on this call with you guys and the power that you two guys have and the voice that you have, the energetics that people create by thinking of you. If it's good, bless you guys. You're going to be blessed energetically when you think good thoughts towards people. And pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention. Be self-aware of what you're thinking about others, because it's very, very, very energetic. And it creates negative creates negative, not only to yourself, but also to the person you're thinking towards. When you see people that have got a voice, consider them and honor them so they will continue with their powerful voices that they have, with blessings and honor and just, great stuff. So hopefully that made sense. Thanks for letting me share.
I know you got something to say, Leslie. Can I just jump in before I lose this? So I didn't know that, Nancy. I don't know if you shared that with me, and that is...
I kind of thought I did, but maybe I didn't.
Wow. So I don't know if I shared this with you, but this particular baby that was a representation of all of the babies, his name is Samuel. I was going to say was. His name is Samuel. And what's interesting is when this particular situation happened, I actually saw the heartbeat, and then the next time we went, there wasn't a heartbeat, which Dr. Lucky had said. So it was, quote, hard to swallow. So it caused some stuff in the throat issue area. The other thing is when he tested me, sounds like, that's so beautiful about Jessica, and this guy sounds like amazingly divine. I need to connect with him. But when Dr. Lucky was doing his thing, he asked me about my grandmother on my mom's side and said, did your grandmother have a miscarriage? And I was like, no, that's to my knowledge, and he said, well, is she still living? Can you contact her? And I said, probably be better for me to contact my mom. So I asked my mom, and my mom wasn't aware of anything either. And she was the youngest. There were 3 in her family. And I had not told anyone that I named the baby Samuel. We're all S's in my family. So I had picked Samuel for his name, and he would have been my 4th. And so when I talked to my mom was like, I don't, no, I'm the 3rd and I'm good. And so then I actually did talk to my grandmother, and she was kind of shocked when I talked to her. And she was like, well, actually, yeah, I did have a 4th child, and I delivered, but he passed, right away after he was born. And I said, what happened? And I believe it was some pneumonia or something. She didn't go into it, but I said, so it was a boy. And she said, yeah, his name was Samuel. And I was like, oh my God. And I had told Dr. Lucky that I named him Samuel before she was on the phone live with me saying his name was Samuel. And so he was like, wow, you were trying to finish, what she started, and even connected to the exact name, the 4th child, the whole deal, and how we do this energetic push with what's going on in our DNA and don't even know. We're not even consciously aware, and or have memories of things that we put down because we're like, I don't want to think about that. I'm just not going to whatever. And then you're 40, 50 years old and all this stuff bleeds through and you're like, no, that didn't happen. And you find out, no, that's real. So Leslie, do you have anything to add? I could see you're jumping in.
It's this place of trust when you start exploring energy, even for Nancy to be able to speak with this gentleman, and she had to be able to trust the recognition in her own self. And so she had to actually have enough self-awareness to check in with her own heart and ask her own memory and her own body, rather than just oh, no, that wasn't me. You just did it, And so that to me is part of the energetics too, because it calls you to a higher level of trust. Because, Nancy can't time warp. Well, Nancy is not right now going to time warp. That's a whole nother topic. But, you know, to really dig into the details of the experience, right? She had to really be able, and that's one thing too, I think about energy is it teaches us to begin to trust ourselves and begin to like tune in and listen. And that's kind of even with you, like with these experiences with Dr. Lucky, I know a lot of how he works and how you work with him, it requires you to be able to literally check into your own body and really see, because the body doesn't lie. And that's another really profound thing I think that I've even learned in the little bit of time I've been studying this and exploring it, is the trust that you begin to build.
And it takes courage too, to look into these things and to actually go like, you know what, I'm going to have the courage to ask the questions and to find out the answers, because sometimes it's not what you think it is. And what Nancy was saying about even thoughts and energy towards people, I mean, I have tons of videos on this about opinions and judgments. Your limbic system is behind your frontal lobe. Your limbic system can't tell the difference between you guys and me, or anyone watching and me. So anytime we put something out, whether it's like a judgment or a mad or hate or anything like that, then basically your body registers that as you feel that about yourself. And then it releases the chemicals as if receiving the hate or the negative or, you know, whatever word curses, things like that, all. And so you can go into a contraction and also have, you know, suppressed immunity, suppressed digestive system, you know, gain weight, suppressed metabolism, you know. So it's very, what she said, just piggybacking on what Nancy was talking about even just being aware of judgment of, like, if you're watching a movie or a thing, or you're on anything with YouTube, or, you know, energy, again, this is all energy. And we think that we're just like, oh, we're just having a thought. And it's like, no, actually, you know, we are one. There is no separation. You know, scriptures over and over talk about, you know, can you say to your hand, you know, you're bad or whatever without cursing yourself? It's like, no, we're all connected and we're all one. And energy shows that when you are judgmental or point fingers or anything, that you're basically on the receiving end of that energetically, because karma is real, but also chemistry is real. Your actual physical physiology is real, and there are repercussions for that. So it is a really good time to be aware. Again, just talking about energy again. But Nancy, it looks like you got something to say, so I'm going to let you go.
I've got a couple things. Don't let me forget to go back on the baby thing. And I was just thinking I need to have a notebook so I won't forget what I want to say. But the energetic thing, it's like when we're start to become, and you've taught this many years, probably both of you guys, is this the opposite, that being observing yourself and literally being so freaking self-aware and self-conscious of what you're thinking. And a lot of times, like just the other day, I don't know if it's because I was feeling bad or whatever, but I was hearing myself, and it was like I'm like, oh, you know, I started to realize, oh, wait a minute. Okay. And like, what's in me? So like, when we are doing this negative thing, we really need to go look in the mirror, because that's what we are really doing. We're looking in the mirror, and it's because we are one. And so what we're looking and seeing in someone else is only because it's in ourselves. So that's one thing. And go back to the baby. It was so interesting that you had said that, you know, the Samuel of your grandmother. Because when I was, you know, walking through that process, I kept thinking, you know, and then getting to hear the grandmother back, and she was a daughter too. I'm like, there is like this baby was, I really kind of, and this might be weird, and I don't even know why I thought that, but I thought like, you know, the babies go to heaven and then would come back, and just to do that process again. You know, that's weird, but for some, you know what I mean? I really thought that this could have been the same baby that my great grandmother lost or something. But again, it's just a thought. It doesn't mean it's real. It doesn't mean anything. So just wanted to throw it out there for the fun of it. Thank you.
Interesting. Leslie, you got anything to say on that?
I love that. It's like she said, for the fun of it, being willing to ask the questions. And if that's not something you've ever, you know, dove into, then I've listened to a lot of very, very highly educated therapists in hospitals, very well, like top tier. And they got surprised through their own, because they're psychotherapist and therapist. And, you know, they did the whole hypnosis. They didn't usually use hypnosis. I actually was listening to a book this week that someone had recommended a while back. And it was basically, this guy's at the Miami hospital. And essentially he, after 18 months of no progress with a client, hypnosis. And so he was turns out a lot of what you were saying with the baby coming back in and things like that, they kind of were coming through when he just had no concept. So I think it's like, be willing to ask the questions and be willing to realize that at the end of the day, we don't have all the answers, and that's okay. But we can always be willing to be open and, you know, figure it out.
Very good. Yes.
So talk to me about cutting the cord, ladies. Have you ever had to cut a cord, and like what kind of ceremonies, and or I guess, you know, even with the burials, that's a type of cutting the cord in a way. But you mentioned dissolving something in a certain space, or any other things that you guys have done with cutting the cords?
Well, for that one, just since you mentioned it, I like to get in a more sacred type vibe going on. So I do low light or candles. I might have like white Twinkie lights on. Because it brings me into my heart more. The candles themselves, you know, it's not like the candles do anything. It just, for me, it puts me more in that deep place. And for me, I think whenever you do any kind of releasing or cord cutting, that's very important for it to actually be real. Because it's really easy to be like, okay, cord cutting, and that's that surface level, right? And so for me, I did that, and I took several deep breaths and just dropped in and asked to be shown where the attachments were. And I remember seeing one of them, my eyes were closed, so I saw it in my mind's eye. So everything for me was in my mind's eye, where I then gently placed my hands on it, and there were different colors and things involved in this particular scenario. And once it was fully dissolved, I actually said, are there any more? And there were 2 more. And they were at different locations on my body, in my mind's eye. And so I just completed the process with that. And for me, there were a lot of tears. And it felt very good in my heart. It felt very light for me after that. And I think I've done that one maybe a since. So I do, if candles make it a ceremony, I guess, but I definitely get a more like soft dropped in vibe going on for myself, but
Awesome.
Yeah, I just have a question, because I don't know if I've got a lot of experience in that, but lately I've been, doing a lot of processing about, with a grandmother or just different things in my life, feeling like it was a generational bloodline DNA stuff.
I actually have a grandmother cup like right now. I barely ever use this, and this is the one that I picked to drink my tea out of.
Love it. Love it.
So another synchronicity, but go ahead.
So yeah, so there's a lot of things, that I'm really looking at. I love the, speaking of that, where more and more people are able to really look at their stuff and go there and, be ready for this new world transition, beautiful place that we're going into. So to be ready, you've got to deal with your stuff. So, and it's been so painful for a lot of people, too painful to even think about or consider it, but let's do it. We can do this together. I don't really know a lot about the cutting cords, or, but Sharnael, and I've heard a lot of your messages about, so my question would be, you talk about, tearing up the contracts, breaking up, like if you're in a relationship and you want to break the soul ties, and is that similar things? Y'all go there. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you, because I forgot about contracts. So yes, I had written down a couple things and a terrible confession. I'm so embarrassed, but
you're always real. You are always real.
I know, right? So contracts, yes. I love that you brought that up. Contracts, you can actually write out a contract and then rip it, burn it, put it in the fire. I know for me, this is the first year that I can remember that I didn't do this, but I'm going to this week of writing down things for the year that did not serve me well, and or some new things that I'm choosing to do. And actually have a workshop coming up this Thursday on just the whole new year and ways to do some things differently. And I'll put the information on that too. But burning away, like just taking a match to some things that just no longer serve me. Some things that I'm just choosing to go a different direction. And it doesn't mean that it didn't serve me in that moment for whatever reason, but it just means that I'm going a different direction now, and that, you know, this is a thing that I'm going to move on from. And you kind of just light them. I had this like genie bottle kind of like urn looking thing. It's not really an urn, but and I would like put this in the paper and I would burn it up, and it would be ashes, and I would throw it in the fire or just throw it directly in the fire. But contracts are a big thing. Dr. Lucky's talked a lot about that. Also, this is the part that's embarrassing, you guys. So I got a mattress used in 1998, probably around that time, like a used mattress. And I have had that mattress all this time. And I am no longer with the partner that I was with in that situation. And I remember Candace Weaver saying to me, get a new mattress. Not only because of that shift and that, but also just because the energy of the mattress, but also because anything over 10 years in a mattress, probably you shouldn't have anymore. And do you know how many years is that? What we're in, like, what, 2022 minus 1998? Kind of past my limit on mattress, like used mattress by that means. So I'm embarrassed. As a naturopath, started studying. I didn't know there was like a billion mattresses out there. But I first got I didn't know. I didn't know the power of having a certain kind of mattress for your back, and not just, you know, definitely the energy, but even the physical of like getting a new mattress for your actual back support.
Yeah, the materials of the mattress, like the materials that in most mattresses are not good for you. So if you find one that's very healthy all around, you just let me know.
I'm just letting you know that we actually got a Tempur-Pedic, like the kind that you like sink into and it's supposed to form around you. And we had like a 120-day deal on it, and I hated it so much. And also the chemicals in the mattress really F up your hormones. If you have any kind of hormones, that will be messed up. So as soon as I was able to switch it out, we did. And we have like a normal, really, I have the best mattress in the universe now. And I did not know that life would be so good to sleep I didn't even know that I had a problem with it. Wasn't it because we were moving and we had stayed somewhere else and we were staying there on this other person's mattress, and I was like, wow, I feel really good. And we went back to the house and I was like, wow, my back hurts. And Brian was saying the same thing, and I'm like, someone said, well, why don't you look into, you know, what's going on with your mattress? You think it's a mattress? I think it's my chiropractor. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I have the same one since I was like used. I got it at Goodwill for like $50 in 1998. And he was like, what? And I was like, is that bad? And he's like, yes, that's terrible. So yeah, we got this like really cool mattress. And I think it's the kind that they use in hospitals. It's organic. It doesn't screw with your hormones. And I literally get in this bed and I'm like, I am never getting out of this bed. I just want to stay there all day, which is terrible. But I'm like, I want to replicate that whenever I have to go somewhere. It's like, can I just take my mattress with me and my pillow and my sheets and all my things? But go ahead. Yes.
No, I just would love to hear. I'll get with you later to get what mattress that is, because I never knew it. That's
so embarrassing.
Hey, no, I'm sure there's plenty of you out there. I better back up. My mattress I bought in 2000 or 2000, somewhere around 2002 or something like that. And I just recently bought a My Pillow, advertisement for my pillow, 3-inch topper, and we really don't like it. It just doesn't. It's kind of a foam topper, and it's not. I mean, it's comfortable and everything. It's just not. It's not my favorite yet. So I need a whole new bed. Yeah. So what am I talking about? What, 2000 and we're 22? So literally, I mean, that's just, and I'm laughing at you. Oh my gosh. This is where it starts, right? Looking in the mirror.
Oh, okay. So the brand new mattress. Okay, the one that I got, I have to look. I want to say it's like, I will tell you the name when I find it, but I will tell you that it was only $600.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
And when we went to go try to get the same one, we couldn't get it. And I ended up getting a Stearns and Foster because we're in 2 locations right now. It's a long story. It's not that we're fancy. We had a tornado and it took our house out. So we're in the middle of 2 places right now. And so I can tell when I'm at the other place that I'm like, oh my God, I love this so much. But yeah, so Stearns and Foster is the one that we tried to replicate like the other one, but I will find out the name of this one. I want to say it's Johnson, but that can't be it. But it's the ones they use in the hospitals, and it's organic. That's all I know. But anyway, Leslie, since we're just like divulging way more, but the point is energy. The energy of what was happening on that mattress, right? Okay, I'm just saying, with people that I'm no longer with, in partnership, because I'm with the love of my life, who I've known since I was 17, and I've restored that relationship. Thank you, Jesus. And I'm back with alignment. And so everyone's like, what? Tell us the name of the mattress.
I will tell you this on the mattresses.
It was like $600. I know. That counted the spring, the thing underneath. What do you call it? The
box springs.
Box spring. Can you believe that? $600?
Wow.
And that Tempur-Pedic thing was like $5,000. And I was like, what a ripoff. But and I hated it. I cannot stand it.
Is it soft?
I feel like we're just talking. Great.
Is it firm, pillow top, or soft?
There is a pillow top and it's medium firm. But I got the medium Tempur-Pedic, and it was like a giant rock. It never gave. And not only that, I sweat like freaking all day long. I never, ever, ever had a hot flush in my entire life. And both of us were like, what is going on? But it was the chemicals. Wow. The chemicals in it. We're way off track here, but it's okay. Apparently someone needed to know about this mattress thing.
Well, it's a famous topic here.
Oh, God.
Leslie, it's all you.
Well, I was going to tell you, there is this really cool bed, Samina, and it's no metal in the bed, so it doesn't conduct any of the radiation. Oh. It's a whole bedding kit. It's like the bed, the mattress is like whatever. There's grounding pads on the bed, the sheets, the whole thing. It's BA. I will have one day. I do not have one now, but I will have one.
And what's it called?
Samina. I think it's Samina maybe. It's been a while, but they have like a whole bedding system for like organic. Like the sheets are also, because we're talking about beds, I'm going to go ahead and say this. 100% organic cotton sheets are not going to damage your biofield. Any kind of blend damages the biofield. So like Samina, for example, I think they have some wool stuff and they have some cotton stuff, but you don't want to like, yeah. So anyways.
Wow. It must be costly. Okay.
Costly. No, I have bamboo sheets and they are the best. I'm just saying. Someone's like, I love this conversation. Yeah. So we just we're not going to go here at all. We were talking about energy, which I guess is still energy, but we're talking about soul ties, cutting the cord, energy,
new beds.
Anyway, well, we have been like an hour. Do you guys have
sex thing that she got? It's going to beds.
What? I know. Someone's like, you guys are a riot. You're like sisters. We have to do this again. Okay, so we'll have to come back and do another show. So, but do you guys have any final words about energy, cutting the cords, synchronicities, like any final words before we end for the evening?
Nancy said that I want to like bring into a circle for people. when she was talking about being self-aware and like noticing your thoughts, like your thoughts create your beliefs. Like my son tonight, he said something like his science, he's wildly intelligent, and I really don't care about grades, to be honest.
Very
But it
true.
dropped like dramatically, and I'm just kind of like, what's that about? He goes, oh, I'm just not good at that subject. I was like, okay, see, the fact that you're thinking that means you'll eventually believe that, which means you're going to feel that way, which means you're going to put out what you attract. So there's the belief to the thought, to the feeling, to the emittance, right? And to the heart. And that's really, that creates the energy. So the self-awareness, that's why you catching it and paying attention and allowing the healing and working with people and reading books and consciously, consistently tending it is going to like, that cycle of growth, that path of growth is such a strong trajectory forward, and it's so powerful. So just energetically, if we were all doing that, which I think so many more people are, like, it's going to be super fun to see what happens the next year, 2, 3 years for like just the consciousness of the planet.
I agree.
Totally.
Self-editing is really important for sure.
Yeah, it's like Google the top 10 core limiting beliefs and start asking yourself which ones are yours, and start asking the questions. It's all about asking the questions. Whenever you have something going on, just ask a bunch of questions. Just write the questions down and watch divine answer them.
And I like to use believe whenever I'm doing that. This is my absolute favorite of like, what do I believe? Because the word believe is to be alive in something. So I like how Leslie was like, wait, if you said it out loud, that must mean if you like pull back, that must be in somewhere in here, which that can, I mean, like with math with me, I was told I was bad at math, and then I ended up being bad at math because I believed it. But I'm actually freaking really good at math. So I like numbers and code. But I didn't even know you could Google the top 10 limitations.
Well, I know I've got a copy of it, but I'm just assuming you can. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
sure you can. Yeah.
Well, I think that's really
if
cool.
anybody needs it, I've got it. We'll put it out. I'm sorry?
I'm going to have to check it out. That's a really good tip.
I'll send you the copy that I have, that I got from Jonathan England.
Post it in here. I would love to see, because you never know.
I don't even know how to do this.
Send it to me and I'll post it. That way everyone can
chat. Okay, I can do that if we're not logging off right now.
Awesome.
Get it done.
But yeah, I know this was kind of sporadic and out there, and I enjoyed every bit of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Definitely love y'all and love everyone watching, and wishing you guys a happy 2020 for your energy, your perfect energy. And definitely want to remind you too, this Thursday, I have an event coming up. It's a workshop that we're going to go through some strategic steps individually on a Zoom where everyone can be there and we can all see each other's faces. It's going to be very interactive, and we're going to create the new world and create the new path for 2020 instead of just letting things happen to us. We're going to be discussing all of that. And then I also have an event with Laura Eisenhower, Rocco Moon, who's Rocco Nugent, also Brad Olson. There's a big event coming up on the 16th, which I'll put the link in there too, which is going to be a whole panel of people discussing this kind of stuff. But this was very impromptu and beautiful, and I knew that these were the perfect people to do it with and share our story. Oh, look, Carlin's on. Hey, Carlin. But love you guys. Shauna's here too. Shout out to Shauna and Connie and all you guys watching. Kathy, love you guys so much. Cammy's on here. Anyway, please do share and tag. I don't know, maybe someone needs to know something about sex and mattresses, or maybe they had a miscarriage, something terrible. Maybe there's a subconscious situation going on with their thought process, or there's been death, or who knows what this is going to do to someone who's listening. You never know what we're talking about. That actually is a springboard for people to look further into what's going on with them, and they can relate somehow, and then reverse engineer that for them. So definitely tag and share and let people know. But love you guys so much, and just thank you for your support. And for the 3 days I was without a phone and lost that information, actually, whatever. I was on the lake and it was fun and I missed you guys and I was like, oh my gosh, I might have a phone addiction. So that's another topic of another time, because I was like, I kept like thinking, what's missing? What's missing? Oh yeah, I don't have a phone to check every second. So another, oh, someone says, I need a new mattress. Shauna needs a new mattress.
That's just a divine topic.
Wow, Nancy, thank you. I need to work on the Judgement expertise. Lots of great stuff, Leslie. Yeah, you guys follow these guys. Check out their work. Follow them on social media. Leslie's always doing great interviews and lots of cool stuff. And Nancy is up and coming, about to be doing a lot of great things for us and with us. So you guys have a great night. And
I apologize, everyone. I haven't been able to find that picture, but we'll get it to you guys somehow. I'll send it to Sharnael and we'll get it up for next time.
Awesome. All right. Love y'all. Thank you.
Love you guys. Thank you so much. An honor to be here.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Leslie.
Bye, guys.
Bye.